Are you in the moment when you're with your family and friends over the holiday periods? Being present is one of the hardest things sometimes to do. There are so many distractions in this world. A lot of them on our devices. And yeah, what's going on in here? So how can you always pay attention and be present for those people around you? Now, increasing your presence in every situation, be it in work or outside of work, is a great personal development attribute, and it's a great trait to have. Being present helps you to know that you're there for others and for them to know that you're there for them. And it shows you're listening, you're caring, you're understanding, and picking the moments when to speak and when not to speak. As my nan used to say, it's always a wise person who knows when not to say something, which I've always remembered. Still working on that one. So if you can connect with all the people around you, yeah, you're going to be a better you. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about being present during holiday periods, time with family and friends. And I'll discuss what it means and why it's so important, and how to start working on this as a really important personal trait. It's going to be my present to you. Often though, we're not sure what to say. And so I'm going to talk about asking lots of great questions using my 6 magic words. The who, the what, the where, the when, the how, the why. And also how to give free information to make other people feel comfortable, to get conversations going. And I think that's really quite important. And then we can perhaps use our 6 magic words to ask them about themselves, so we can be good listeners, understanders, and being present. Now, it's a bit like if you're running business meetings. Before I go to meetings or going on calls with people, I sit and have a think, what shall I ask them? Can I remember what we spoke about last time? Are they going on holiday? Have they got family? Have they got hobbies? Are they doing something of interesting? Or have I watched or followed anything they've done on social media? So think about this before you turn up to any holidays, any functions, weekends away, parties, gatherings, whatever. Do a little bit of homework. Perhaps have a chat with your partner. Perhaps have a chat with other family members or friends. I call it, please can we just remind David who's doing what? Because I forget everyone's names in the family. I sometimes forget what they've been doing, and then I meet it and it comes into my head. So hey, let's prevent that from happening, and let's turn up organised with what I call, please remind David. So just add your name to that. Please remind Michelle, please remind Rebecca, please remind, whatever your name is. As I said, it's a bit like preparing for business meetings with your team, senior managers or clients. It just works. So what does present really mean? To me, it's being there for others. I think it's a great trait in emotional intelligence. A couple of occasions recently I've had. My mum's birthday, really looking forward to it. And it's such a great event. She's 92, lots been going on in the life, and it was just nice to get everyone around. Sometimes though, there's other events that perhaps you're going away with a group of people and think, do I really want to go away with them? And perhaps I'm thinking, is this really what I want to be doing? Let's think about how we actually manage ourselves in these situations. And as I said, my mum's party, really excited. But I wasn't necessarily looking forward to a friend's 65th birthday recently. Some people there, do I have to talk to them? And yeah, I think it's really quite important that you do, and put in the effort. And choosing to be present, decide to make the most of it with no resentment or bad feelings. Just take that over there. Go on, turn up and be good for the person whose party it is, in terms of the 65th that I wasn't necessarily looking forward to. And my wife always says to me, just humour them. You're only going to be there for a couple of hours. And when she says that to me, bear in mind what I do for my job, I should really know better, shouldn't I? I agree, but sometimes I'm not always as good as I'd like to be. So that I do have to work on. And also, what I'm going to talk to you about is that small talk and being present and asking questions and being there for other people. And your family will appreciate your efforts. But I do appreciate this is a skill. This is a really important trait. And it isn't always easy. It is hard to do. And especially if you're quite an introverted person or don't necessarily feel comfortable in talking about small talk and just listening to people go on and on and on, and you think, oh, do I really want to be here? But yeah, let's all put that aside. So choose to be present in everything and everywhere you go. So as I said, can you just update David what's going on? Because he always forgets what's happening. So if there's children at the event, they can be sometimes quite difficult to engage with and sometimes brilliant to engage with. So if there's really young children, go and play with them. But whilst you're there, ask them some questions. What are you into? What do you like watching? What do you like doing? What's on the internet? I always think this is a great question to ask them. So what advice would you give us parents? They've always got an opinion. Who's funny at school? Who's naughty at school? Don't ask them what they're learning, because they're just going, that's boring. Think of some other different types of questions. What's cool in the gaming area? Get them talking about things and ask them lots of follow-on questions. Why do you enjoy that? What's good about that? What don't you like? And ask them things that you know that they've been doing, perhaps trips, holidays or parties or events. Ask them for their views, depending there again on the age of the children. But be interested, be present. They will like you for it, and it's a great way of building great relationships. And as time goes on, hey, we're going to learn from these children. So it's great to build good relationships with them. Yeah, perhaps asking people questions of your age, perhaps your brothers or your sisters or your cousins, etc. So remember what they do for work. Remember where they've been recently with work. Perhaps the challenges they're having. Perhaps if they're having a difficult time, don't bowl in and go, hey, yeah, my business is great. Have a little bit of emotional intelligence there. Try to remember what you spoke about last time. I think this is a really good trait. And there again, it's the same with meetings with senior people and clients and your team. Remember what you talked about and how did those conversations go and what they've been doing since, or what were they going to go and do. Perhaps travel, projects, hobbies. And yeah, if people are opening up about their views, don't disagree with them. You don't need to turn it into an argument. Just find out why they think that way. And I know that is easier said than done, but it is good practice. Why do you think that? It's a very interesting viewpoint. And if you feel that you've got conflicting views, just keep quiet. You don't need to show yours. Just be present and show interest in them. As my wife would say, again, just humour them. You haven't got to be there for that long. And humour. If you've got great banter between you and the family and your friends, yeah, great, crack on if it works. But otherwise, just laugh at yourself. And yeah, be the person that isn't always, delivering the punchlines. And because some people don't always like the sarcasm. And there again, have emotional intelligence, be present. And if you feel that someone perhaps is in the group being picked on and you can see they're not liking it, step in and change the subject. And I think that's a really good trait to have as well. So that's a little bit about planning for questions for people of your age, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, etc., etc. The next group I've looked at is your parents and perhaps your aunties and uncles. Have some good questions to ask them. There again, involve them. Ask them questions if you haven't seen them for a while about things you know that they like doing. Think of, as I said, go back to a bit of planning. Talk to your partner about this before you turn up. What do they do? Where they live? And make sure you've got all those things. Listen to them. Just be there for them. Just listen. Show you're interested with lots of good follow-up questions. Be inquisitive, which is always important. If they ask you about you, give them some detail, what I call free information. And talk about what you've been doing. Make it easy by, and this is really quite important, if people do ask you questions, try and elaborate a little bit, make it interesting, tell them some stories, but don't waffle on for too long. Get them around and get them involved in the conversations. And as you would at a networking event or a business meeting, if there's someone on the peripheral, on the side sort of listening in, try and involve them, bring them into the conversation. And I know it sounds a bit crazy to facilitate a conversation in a family gathering, but yeah, be that person. Well, what are your thoughts? Well, you've been away, haven't you? Bring them into the conversation. People will appreciate this, that you're doing it, because you're being present. Ask for their opinions and yeah, perhaps their advice on things. They'll love you for that. But there again, don't disagree with them, and embrace curiosity, which I think is such a great concept. And perhaps we'll talk more about that on other videos. But I think with our families, yeah, be curious and ask some questions, be involved. It's about them. It's not all about you. The last group, yeah, grandparents, or perhaps quite mature aunties and uncles or family friends. They just love family get-togethers. They're always looking forward to them. Tell them your news, tell them what you've been doing, tell them your stories, show them the videos and the pictures. And yeah, how pleased you are to see them. Make them feel good, really important. Ask them about what they've been doing. Now, I do appreciate if they don't get out much, perhaps talk to them about what they've done in the past, where they used to travel to, people that they used to know. If they've lived in a road for many years, get them to talk about all the neighbours that have been there and about their lives. And there again, they'll thank you for it. You may have heard all these things before, but they'll still love you for it. And just be present. And remember what my wife said, you're not there for a great deal of time. Humour them, be interested in them, be there for them, be present.